Hi all. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira and my channel is all about trying new makeup, talking about new makeup, but also finding new and exciting ways to be inspired by the makeup you already own. If that sounds good to you, I hope you will consider subscribing, and if you enjoyed today's video, hitting the like button. Today, guys, I have for you a review of two new products that I've had my eye on since they were released, and I finally just decided to bite the bullet and purchase them. This is the new Chanel Le Beige. What is this called here? The Water Fresh Complexion Touch. And the Chanel Le Beige Eau de Blush Water Fresh Blush in Deep Apricot. I saw a couple of reviews of the Water Fresh Complexion Touch, and I was really intrigued. I was intrigued by the original Water Fresh tint, but what kept me from purchasing that was that there wasn't a whole lot of coverage to it. So yes, I picked this up because I wanted something with a bit more pigment than what the original Water Fresh had. I have the shade B60. I was originally concerned when I first purchased this and I first put it on my face because I've worn this a few times, so this is not a first impression. This is a demo and a review. So I've worn this a few times and I've kind of, formed some full-fledged thoughts about it, put it that way. I was afraid it was going to be too deep when I first applied it, but because it's such a sheer product, it doesn't read as deep as it seems when I first apply it and then blend it out. And I feel like once I've put all my makeup on, as you can see, I feel like it's a pretty decent match, especially on camera. So I'm pretty happy with this. The blush I used for the first time for this video, and I purchased this one first, and then I decided to just go ahead and bite the bullet and get this one as well. So I've had more time with this. This one is definitely still a first impression, and you will see me applying it for the first time in the B-roll footage, and you will see that I don't hate this. I feel like I want to play with this more, and I feel like when I was applying it, I applied it similarly to how I apply the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. I applied the two pumps of the pigment on my back of my hand. I went in with my brush. I was using a natural hair rougher brush to dip into, and then I applied it to my cheeks. Now, I think when I use this again, I think I will go in with maybe a synthetic brush or a sponge to apply the product. As you can see in the footage, there is a ton of pigment. When you first pump it on your hand, it doesn't look like there's a ton of pigment in it, but there is a ton of pigment in those little morsels. And I had quite a lot of product on my face. I went in with my brush, and then I went in with my fingers, and then I kind of finessed it with the brush again. I'm happy with how it looks. As you can see, it's there. And if I wanted to build this up, the thing is that this looks really natural, but that's because I went in and I sheared it out. And then I went along the edges with a bit of my concealer, with my concealer brush, whatever leftover product was on it. And it's created this really sort of soft, sheer, natural vibe. But what I noticed is that if I wanted to build this up and make it really intense, I absolutely could. And so I like the idea that you can go really light and natural with this, and then if you really want to build it up, you can. Again, I did notice that when I applied it and then when I went in with my fingers, it was a little bit patchy, almost as if the pigment was lifting off. When I went back in with my brush and lightly tapped and blended, it was fine. Everything was smoothed out. So again, I feel like this is a bit of a product that takes a little bit of a learning curve, or has a bit of a learning curve, but I'm not mad at it. It's not, so far I'm like, okay, more data is needed, but I'm not unimpressed, because I think the shade is quite beautiful. I have the shade Deep Apricot, and as you can see, it's definitely sort of an orangier tinted blush, which I'm not mad at. The foundation, getting back to that, or getting back to I don't know if you would call this a foundation. It's a skin tint, they call it the Complexion Touch. It's a skin tint. The first time I wore this, I wore it all day. I put it on first thing in the morning, and then I ran out and I ran errands, and I went to the grocery store, and I was wearing a mask, and I took the mask off, and I took a nap. And two takeaways from that first wear was that I needed to powder more. It was a slightly warmer day, and this is not a product for me as someone with oily to normal skin. When it's warm, and I sweat a lot. So I get overheated quite easily. When I sweat, my skin gets shiny. Like even here, I'm sitting under these lights. I've already powdered and I'm already getting a little shiny, like right under here. I don't mind a bit of shine here. I don't necessarily want it like right there. So my takeaway was I needed to powder the product more. I had only used a little bit under my eyes. I need to powder a little bit more, not heavy powder, just apply more to the areas where I get super shiny. And also, this product actually stays on the skin really well. You would think with something so sheer and something that's doesn't have a lot of pigment to it that it would sort of float away in the ether as the day goes on. But I noticed when I got up, I took a nap. I got up, I went in the bathroom, I looked at my face, and I still had product on my face. What I like about this is that because it's a sheerer tint, if it did fade, you're not gonna notice a huge difference. But what I noticed is that everything that I had applied on top of it had stayed as well. And that's really impressive because usually what happens for me if I'm wearing something that's quite sheer, that fades easily, is that everything goes away with it. Like it all just floats away, you know, to the, you know, never, never land. It's gone. And what I noticed is that the products that I had applied had stayed on. I also noticed I had applied this originally and I used a powder blush. I made the mistake of applying a powder blush to this without setting it. I would not recommend doing that because this has got such an, it's not sticky, but it is a dewier feel to it. I wouldn't say it's like, it feels like my skin, but as you can see, like when I do like this, it's got some moisture to it. So applying a powder right over that, it just was absolutely a pain in the ass to try to blend out. So again, my recommendation is if you want to use, I think you can use powder with this, I think, or powder blush or powder bronzer with this. I would just suggest powdering that area first and then going in with your blush. I did not do that. I went straight in because I was able to do that with other products, but also the products that I do that with aren't quite as dewy to the touch and tacky to the touch. This is not a product that sets. This is not going to set on its own. If you want it to set, you are going to have to set it with powder. Like I said, I wore this all day the first time I wore it, and I wore it for a couple of hours the second time. I feel like I have a decent sort of point of view of how it wears. I will say this, I used this on a day when I was running errands, on a day when I wasn't doing anything major. I would not wear this if I was planning on going to an event or I was going to be somewhere where it was going to be super hot and you know, I was going to be under lights, or because of the fact that I did feel that it got very shiny as time went on. That might be remedied with setting it. I've set it more today than I've ever set it before. So we will see how that goes. I will maybe leave a pinned comment in the comment section letting you guys know how I feel about it now that I've powdered it more than I did before. The application, as you saw in the B footage, it's beautiful. It applies so nicely. It does come with this little brush here that I didn't use. It's a cute little brush. Look at that. And I feel like for the amount of money, I think, you know, good on Chanel for giving at least a little something extra. But I did not use that. I used my little Toyota Fupa 2 brush. It was clean, and then I used it today for this video, so it's dirty now. But this is what I used the first time I applied it and the second time I applied it, and this is my favorite brush to use with this. What I love about this brush is that it is natural hair and goat hair. I mean, it's goat hair and synthetic hair. It's like a mix. So it handles cream and liquid products really well. It blends really well, and I just loved how this applied to my face. It applied really quickly and evenly. I had no issues. I would not use a sponge with this. It will soak up all of your product. Unlike this one where I feel like this has enough pigment, this has way more pigment to it than this does. And so if you're going to use this with a sponge, I think you'll be fine. I would just say, again, apply it to the back of your hand, tap, 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 and apply it with the sponge. But with this, I would say either apply it with your fingers, although I feel like if you apply it with your fingers, because of the pigment balls, and I'll show you guys again, I showed you in the demo, but I'll show you again what it looks like. So because of the little pigment balls, I don't know if applying it with your fingers will do what a brush can do. The reason why it worked so well with the brush is that tapping the brush really exploded those pigment balls, and it really allowed it to spread nicely. I don't necessarily know if the fingers will have the same effect. So this is the finished look. All I have on is the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. I have on the blush. I have on a little bit, just a tiny bit of my Tower 28 Bronzino and West Coast. I haven't used this in ages, and I'm like, I need to get more use out of this. So I just used a little bit. So the look is quite natural. And I have a little bit of powder, some mascara, and I have on my Merit Signature Lip Beat in Tiger. And this is all I'm wearing. I really love the way my face looks. I have a little bit of a little interloper here that I just tapped a little bit of concealer on, but I'm not trying to like heavily conceal anything. And so I feel like this is that type of product. If you're not trying to heavily conceal anything, if you want something really light on the skin that is sort of, this is very much your skin, but better. Sort of like the Water Fresh tint, but turned up. Like if you want your skin but better, but you actually want a little bit of pigment, you know, you actually want a little something, something, this is that. If you prefer something with less, then the original Water Fresh skin tint is probably a better option for you. I believe they're the same price. They're both $65 each. So it's really just a question of what you prefer. This, again, I'm going to use this more, but I'm actually not mad at it. Even though it was a little bit tricky to work with this first time using it, I'm not mad at it, and I like the look that it gives, and so I'm excited to play with this more. All right, guys, so let me know in the comments down below. Have you tried the new Water Fresh Complexion Touch? Are you interested in it? Let me know in the comments down below. Same goes for the blush. If I grow to like this as much as I feel like I'm going to, I might pick up another color because there's another color that's really pretty. These are the first two Chanel products that I've ever tried, and I'm actually low-key impressed, and I'm kind of thinking, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I've been scrolling the Chanel beauty website, and I've been looking at things, and I've seen some things that I want. So let me know in the comments down below. If you've used Chanel beauty products, what are some of your favorite products? Let me know, recommend what you think I would like. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, please be sure to subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.